Picture this. The world's most powerful nation with the largest military budget in history is quietly obsessing over a country that didn't even have smartphones 15 years ago. Why would America, the land of Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and global dominance, suddenly feel threatened by a nation it once dismissed as nothing more than call centers and curry? The answer isn't in the headlines you read, it's in the psychology you don't see. Welcome to the invisible war between America and India, a battle fought not with bullets, but with minds, money, and the fear of losing everything you thought you owned. Let me take you back to 2008. America was busy fighting wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, convinced it had the world figured out. India, just another developing country asking for aid. Fast forward to today, India just became the world's most populous nation. Its economy is racing past former colonial master Britain. Indian CEOs run Google, Microsoft, Adobe, and dozens of Fortune 500 companies. But here's what nobody is telling you. America isn't celebrating India's success. It's terrified of it. And this terror isn't rational. It's deeply psychological. It's about identity, control, and the fear of becoming irrelevant. You see, America built its entire identity on being the exception, the chosen nation, the global leader, the indispensable country. But what happens when another democracy rises without needing America's permission? What happens when that country has 1.4 billion people and refuses to play by the American rules? Psychological panic. And that's exactly what we are witnessing. Here's where psychology comes in. America is experiencing what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the mental stress when your beliefs don't match your reality. For 70 years, America believed it was the natural leader of the democratic world. India was supposed to be grateful, dependent, following America's lead. Instead, India is doing something unthinkable, succeeding on its own terms. When India refused to condemn Russia after the Ukraine invasion, Washington went into overdrive. How dare India, a democracy, not follow the democratic leader's orders? But this wasn't about Ukraine. This was about control. You see, America's foreign policy has always been psychological manipulation disguised as partnership. They offer you their protection, their markets, their friendship. But only if you accept their leadership. It's the classic psychology of a controlling relationship. India broke that pattern, and it's driving America crazy. Look at the evidence. In 2023, America suddenly started caring about human rights in India. Is that a coincidence? Hardly. When India announced it would trade with Russia in rupees instead of dollars, bypassing American sanctions, something shifted in Washington. The friendly rhetoric got colder. The criticism got louder. Because here's the thing America never expected. India doesn't need America to be India. Now let's talk about America's real nightmare, BRICS. When India, along with Russia, China, Brazil, and South Africa, started building an alternative economic system, it wasn't just economics. It was psychological warfare. For decades, America used the dollar as a weapon. Don't follow our rules? We'll cut you off from the global financial system. It was the ultimate power move. But BRICS represents something terrifying for America. A world where dollar isn't king. A world where countries can trade, invest, and grow without bowing to Washington. And India? India is the crown jewel of this rebellion. Think about it. China is easy to demonize. It's authoritarian. It's communist. Russia is the old enemy. But India? India is supposed to be America's natural ally. Same values, same system, same enemy in China. Except India refuses to play the role America wrote for it. When India expanded trade with Iran despite American sanctions, when it bought discounted Russian oil during the war, when it strengthened ties with China, even while having border disputes, America realized something chilling. India isn't choosing sides, it's choosing itself. But the real psychological blow came with technology. Remember when America used to joke about, have you tried turning it off and on again? Mocking Indian call centers. Those jokes stopped being funny when Indian engineers started running American companies. Sundar Pichai at Google, Satya Nadella at Microsoft, Shantanu Narayan at Adobe, Arvind Krishna at IBM. Suddenly, America realized that the people they had stereotyped were not just competing with them, they were leading them. This created a deep identity crisis in the American psyche. You see, America built its confidence on technological superiority. Silicon Valley was supposed to be untouchable American territory. But when India's IT sector started competing directly, when India launched successful Mars missions at a fraction of NASA's cost, the psychological impact was devastating. It wasn't about business. It was about the fundamental American belief that they were inherently superior, more innovative, more capable. India shattered that illusion without even trying. But here's where it gets really interesting: the cultural psychology. America thrives on individual achievement, consumption, and short-term gains. The American dream is about getting rich, buying stuff, and moving up the social ladder. India operates on a completely different principles: family over individual, spiritual growth over material wealth, long-term thinking over quarterly profits. And this difference terrifies America on a subconscious level, because what if India's way actually works better? What if a country that values meditation over medication, community over competition, and wisdom over wealth can actually outcompete the great American machine? This is America's existential fear, that their entire way of life might not be the pinnacle of human civilization after all. When Indian companies started prioritizing employee well-being, when Indian leaders began talking about sustainable growth instead of endless consumption, when India started saying, "We'll take what works from the West, but we won't abandon who we are," America felt something it hadn't felt in decades: irrelevance. Now let's talk about the military psychology. America has 800 military bases around the world. It spends more on defense than the next 10 countries combined. American dominance is core to American identity. But India is building military strength without threatening anyone. It's developing indigenous weapon systems, strengthening ties with Russia for defense equipment, and refusing to be dependent on American military hardware. This is psychological warfare at its finest. America's entire post-World War II strategy was based on making allies dependent on American protection. You need our weapons, our bases, our security umbrella. India said thanks, but we'll build our own. The Quad partnership, America, India, Australia, and Japan, was supposed to be America's answer to China. But instead of a loyal follower, America got a strategic partner who sets its own terms. When India participates in American military exercises but also conducts drills with Russia and China, it sends a clear message: we'll cooperate, but we won't be controlled. And this drives American strategists absolutely crazy. But the real psychological blow came with economics. For decades, America used economic dependency as control. You want to grow? You need American investment, American markets, American approval. India flipped the script. Earlier, India asked companies like Ford, General Motors, and Walmart to invest. But today, it's the other way around. Apple is shifting iPhone production to India. Tesla is negotiating to enter. Amazon and Walmart are fighting for dominance in Indian e-commerce. And Google is investing billions in digital infrastructure. India no longer just accepts investment. It tells these companies the terms. And psychologically, this was devastating. The country that once dismissed India as a poor nation seeking aid suddenly found itself negotiating with a confident power that knew its own worth. When India became the world's fifth largest economy, when it started lending money to other countries, when Indian companies started acquiring American firms, America's psychological superiority complex began crumbling. What we are witnessing isn't a traditional conflict. It's a silent rebellion. India isn't trying to defeat America. It's simply refusing to be defined by America. When India trades with Iran, Russia, and China simultaneously, it's not anti-American. It's pro-Indian. When India refuses to choose sides in the new Cold War between America and China, it's not being neutral. It's being strategic. When India builds partnerships with everyone while remaining dependent on no one, it's not playing games. It's playing chess while America is still trying to figure out the rules. And this is what's driving America's psychological response. For 70 years, America assumed that as countries got richer and more powerful, they would naturally want to become more like America. India became richer and more powerful and chose to become more like India. This wasn't supposed to happen. This breaks America's entire worldview. So, where does this psychological war lead us? America is facing a choice it never wanted to make. Accept India as an equal partner or try to contain it like it's attempting with China. But here's the problem with containment strategy. India isn't China. India is a democracy. India speaks English. India shares many American values. You can't demonize India the way you can demonize an authoritarian rival. So America is stuck in psychological limbo, unable to embrace India fully because it won't submit, unable to oppose India completely because it's too similar. And meanwhile, India continues rising, confident in its own path, unbothered by America's internal struggles. Here's what nobody is telling you about this psychological war. It's not really about India at all. It's about America coming to terms with a multipolar world where it's no longer the only superpower. India is just the most obvious example of what America fears the most. A world where countries can succeed without American permission, American systems, or American leadership. The psychological war between America and India is really America's war with itself. Its struggle to accept that unipolar moment is over. India didn't declare war on America. India simply decided to be India. And sometimes that's the most revolutionary act of all. So the next time you see news about America-India relations, remember, you're not just watching diplomacy. You're watching psychology in action. You're seeing one superpower struggle with its own fears, insecurities, and fading dominance. The question isn't whether America and India will be friends or enemies. The question is whether America can psychologically accept a world where it's no longer the center of everyone else's universe. Is this the beginning of a silent war that no one talks about? Or is this just America learning to share a stage it once owned completely? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.